Where's the love? Where's the love? It's right here in the heart of the city. I'm Silas Grant, and I'm joined by my man, Tony Lewis Jr. What's up?
What's up, fool?
You all right?
I'm great, man.
Good,
Little tired and moving around, but I'm all right.
Yeah, man. You went down to VA, New York, and back.
Yeah. Did a 13 South Cross the Bay Bridge with it.
Yeah.
Nah, but definitely made that trek, man. Yesterday with at VSU. You know, that was my first time at Virginia State.
Okay.
Beautiful campus.
Dr. Bellamy, what's up?
Shout out to Dr. Wes Bellamy, man.
my man.
Yeah, man. He now in the chair of the political science department now.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah,
All
so
right,
he's
cool.
chair now. You know, his scholars were amazing, prepared. Not surprising at all.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Given his track record, yeah.
Yeah, man. But I love what I saw, you know, yesterday, and just, you know, having my dad there with me, you know, was just another dream come true. You know what I'm saying? And then earlier today, shout out to New York City for the American Parole and Probation Association's, I think this was their 48th annual training convention, where they got supervision professionals from all over the country come to New York, you know, to just learn how to do their job better, or talk about, I ain't gonna say learn, but talk about, you know, different ways to do their job better, more effectively. So the panel that I hosted, I moderated, which was cool, right? That was a change of speed where I was the person asking the questions. Had a brother, Bosco, who from LA, and a brother, what's his name, man? I'm drawing a blank on my
You said
brother.
Tariq, I think, right?
Tyreek.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Tyreek Glasgow, out of South Philly. And his organization works in South Philly with youth and families. He's actually in the community he's from, and he has like a safe house, if you will, in the neighborhood, doing morning breakfast, doing social enrichment, educational enrichment, plus connectivity to other resources for not only the kids and the family. So it was wonderful. Bosco doing a lot of public speaking, transformational speaking. He also has a foundation. Both guys are returning citizens, citizens who have been just as involved. And it just was beautiful to talk about redemption and resilience. And what our thoughts on what would make supervision more effective, right? And, you know, one of the big takeaways was people should be looked at from an individualized approach, you know what I'm saying? Based on where they are now, not what they did in the past. And that supervision entities should be resourced and build strategic partnerships to help people get the things that they need, you know, housing, employment, mental health support, you know, the list goes on and on, training, education, blah, blah, blah. So today was really cool, man, really cool. And I'm grateful that the APA, you know, created space for a conversation like that. You know what I'm saying? Because those places can sometimes just talk about how do you assess risks better.
Yeah, lock them up more.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm sure they had some of that there too. But the fact that they had us, you know what I mean? That got to be a part. That's always going to be a part of the conversation. I saw they were also had like a whole sort of like tech room, like that. He hit tech go, but nah, like, you know what I mean? But it's interesting when you start to think about, you know, we think about technology, you know, AI and all these things, and but people don't understand that, like, that stuff really meets itself or shows itself in the criminal justice system.
It probably, some of it starts there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The innovation is coming from how do we better,
Yeah.
you know, do this. And when you start talking about more community supervision or community corrections, where, I mean, that was proposing at one time where maybe that's the best alternative to incarceration. Like, incarcerate them at home. I don't know how people really, you know, have, you know, that's up for debate. But we know these we seen over the years on our homies. You ever think about how GPS has evolved? Then you got smaller, more sleeker, Now they can hear you. They can talk to you. You understand what I'm saying? So like that innovation around technology is continuing to like thrive, and companies are like putting their bids in. They talking about potentially a GPS, like more like a watch, something that's a little less stand out than than an ankle monitor was like everybody can see it. But anyway, all of that was going on today in NYC. So I was happy to be a part of the last couple of days. It's been great.
Yeah, so you traveled down to Petersburg?
Yeah, Petersburg.
Petersburg, came back home with your dad same day. Got on a 3 a.m. train to New York.
Yeah.
Did that panel as a moderator, offered a unique perspective, and hopefully people got something out of that. You come back, change clothes, you're on this main corridor where we record at, and when you're walking down the street, if a person gets a glimpse at you, they may not know that any of what you just said took place and how much of an impact you've had up and down I-95 over the last 36 hours, right? So there's always, I think in these main corridors, people are walking foot traffic and you're passing a lot of people, right? And when you're passing people, again, that glimpse, you got to make a judgment call with people, right, sometimes. And oftentimes, you and I over the last 15 years have talked about, do people see you, Tony, but also you as in anybody, in their fullness?
Yeah.
I would imagine there's some people that you walk past, just who you are right now, they may not even think that you've had that sort of impact unless they know who you are.
Yeah, or can
right?
have it.
Or can have the impact. Yeah. So one of the things that we've been talking about offline a lot over the last month or so is just instances after instances where we feel like we have to somehow perform and show people that we have a fullness that is beyond skin color, beyond age range, beyond where we're from. And I don't even know how to title this episode. Maybe you got a better shot at doing it, but
see my humanity.
See my humanity. Yeah, maybe we'll call it that.
Yeah, do you see my humanity?
How do you see me?
Yeah, how do you see me?
How you see me?
For real. Like I think I've become exhausted with almost trying to force people to like see me, right? In a positive way. I'm a positive person through and through. But like because of the vitriol that's put out there about black men, this is the thing I think that's key. It's not just because what we're discussing don't just happen like just from white people. It happens from all people. It happens from black people, Hispanic, Asian, Middle Eastern, whatever, right? I see it in my life all the time, right? That there's people engage me before if they, and I'm not saying. Again, you made a great point. Of course, that's sort of human nature, right? You got to compartmentalize people as fast as you can to give so that's fine. But when it's one-on-one, when it's interaction and you talking to me, I can see it in your eyes. Like I ain't making it from where we from, get to where I'm at. That's one of the things I feel like is a skill that I have. I know people. Yeah. I can look you in your eyes. I know what you're feeling. I know when you're uncomfortable. I know when you're looking past me. You know what I'm saying? I know that. So it's like, what about me makes you feel like I'm not worthy for you to acknowledge that just I'm there, right? So if I'm at a bar and I before I get to the bar or before we have a conversation, I see how you engage a customer. So why when it comes to me, your engagement is totally different. Mm. The tone of your voice. You're not even looking at me really. You're like rushing me. You're not engaging me. So then I'll be in a position where I feel like, okay, let me order like one of the most expensive things that you offer. Just so it makes you kind of stop and say, oh, he's not as ignorant as I thought. Right? I don't know what they, what I'm saying? He maybe he does belong here. So now that causes you to at least engage me, do you want a regular shot or a double shot, whatever it is. You want it neat or you want it on the rocks. So now we're having a now I may, sometimes I do things like if I'm with somebody, I'll maybe bring up what happened in my day loudly just so they can hear.
Yeah.
Just so you go, oh, he has a job.
Yeah.
It's like a test for me now, but I have seen that change how that person interacts with me.
And it just so happens that in your instance in particular, and I've been out with you countless times, right, where you are very searchable, you're very Googleable, if that's a word, right?
Yeah.
So in your situation, you're equipped with ammunition where if you are discarded initially or if someone looks you off initially, when they do get a chance to like connect the dots, there's something there to connect the dots with, right? Sure. But everybody's not Tony. Yeah, right. Yeah. Everybody's not Facts. Silas.
And it shouldn't even take that.
That's what I'm getting at. You know what I mean? Yes. That's what I'm getting at.
So that's the point. It's like, why do I have to, be, have done X, Y, and Z? But that for a black man, that's what it has to. That's what it has to happen. You have to be extraordinary for you to just be seen as being regular, like being a person.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like it's like, I went to the last couple weeks just been crazy of like my experiences with that. You know what I mean? I was even told in a place that I like go to a lot that like I couldn't buy a drink there because there was no seats. I'm like, what? Like,
no seats available.
No seats available.
I got you. Okay.
Like at the bar was full. It's like, huh? Since when? And why not? What? Even if it was seats at the bar, what if I didn't want to sit down? What do you mean I can't? But I was just trying to go. I was trying to kill a small period of time before I had to pick my girls up from cheerleading. So I didn't engage it like I probably should have, right? I just didn't have the energy, right? Or the Uber driver, his GPS is saying, make a left in this alley, right? That's the only way you can get to my home. I'm not telling you this, sir. It's on the GPS. And if I was a white boy, you would not be as reluctant to go through this. I know that.
Yeah.
I know that. I talk to my white neighbors. I don't ever really see nobody tell me like, yo, man, the Uber wouldn't drop me off. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, and that's happened with black drivers. That's happened with white drivers. That's happened with, Middle Eastern drivers, whatever the case may be, right? But what is it about me? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is it about me that make you, and that's the thing. I think one is one of those things where the point I'm making is I show up how I show up, right? I'm me, right? And I think it is about, if I had a different aesthetic, I think sometimes that would speak to a more, I would be seen as being safer, right? I think and it's 2023, but that's really, and even in some of these, like I'm in Uber Black.
Right.
That's another thing. I ain't in Uber X, I'm in Uber Black.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot of times I do that for this reason, what we talking about. Like, yo, nah, so you think I'm in the black suburban, I pay $49 for a 9-block drive, and you telling me you're not gonna take me to my door?
Yeah.
Just think, you know what I'm saying? I'm not, it's exhausting. Or I gotta have my daughters with me for you to even see. Like, I seen people like talk to my kids before they talk to me. They'll speak to my kids, won't say a thing to me. It's interesting, bro. Yeah. And you don't be want to be like, yo, you know who I am? Because that's not who I am. I would never do that. Yeah. But it's like, yo. Like,
yeah. I also think, as we were talking about this conversation offline, we live in D.C. D.C. is a destination city for people with their careers and their lives. New York is the same, Atlanta, Miami, San Francisco, Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And I wonder, for me, years ago, I drove rideshare, right? I was an Uber driver, and I remember people getting in the car, having conversations, and they'd be like, I can't believe you're from D.C. And they didn't really have a basis on anything positive for D.C.
Yeah.
I've had to have many like civics discussions with them
Yeah,
in the car. But I bring that up to say that I think there's also a different layer when you're a black person, black man in particular, that's thriving, and people like to discard you when it's you in your town.
Yeah.
Because like a transient
How about that?
person that's black that's living in DC, I wonder if they experience it as much. I wonder if a black person who's moved to New York versus a New York native, like I wonder if that native piece is an additional layer. Because to your point earlier, you were saying that if I had a different aesthetic, and I think people when they move to other places, they take on an aesthetic that is like, hey, I'm looking to fit in. I'm looking to do the right thing.
Sure.
Versus with you, it's like I don't owe anybody nothing.
Right.
I grew up here. I still live here. It's my junk. Yeah.
But also, I think specifically about like Washington, I think if somebody looks at you and feels like you are from here, automatically there's a negative connotation just with that. So we're battling that also.
Yeah.
Like people don't see us as natives as like being people that you want to be around. I mean, I really think that that's also what we're up against.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? Like a person probably, they see the way I walk. They didn't hear me talk, because I don't even say that, because they're not necessarily even hearing me talk yet. It's like they already made that how I'm dressed, how I walk. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, sometimes a person that asks you, no matter where you are, they ask you a question like, are you sure you're in the right place? You know what I mean? I be clean. I be like, what? Like, what do you mean? I don't be, some of it be like, yeah, I'm like, yo, so I ask, like, you don't watch the news, or you ain't on Instagram, or you don't read the Washington Post? Like, what you
been on there about 12 times.
Yeah, what's up? Yeah. I'm gonna start doing that. I don't do that naturally though, but I'm gonna start doing that more. For real. I'm gonna start like.
But the fear in that, again, going back to what we talked about earlier, the fear in that is that everybody's not capable of pulling out that.
And that's why,
that's
honestly,
that sheet.
To that point about like being a native, that's why a lot of people from here don't frequent certain spots, because it's like a passive aggressive kind of thing. You just kind of make people feel unwelcomed, right? Like without saying anything, So like, why would people come back? And some of these business owners will say, well, we're open to everybody. But now, are you though? Like, are you really? Like, do you greet people that you feel like, because you look at people when they come through that door like they don't belong here. Like you don't want them here. Because most times your staff is not from here. Right? So even in that situation I was saying about at the bar, I engaged the owner later. Like, hey man, let me ask you something. Is that your policy? And I went back in there. The general manager eventually said something to me about it. You know what I'm saying? He must have got, his coattail pulled up about like, hey, you know what I'm saying? But like, it shouldn't have been like, hey, that's Tony Lewis. It shouldn't have been that.
It shouldn't have been that, yeah.
But then that same night, the bartender asked me for my card twice before I ordered something. Like, who said, you asked that when somebody's trying to start a tab. I'm not really trying to start a tab. I'm ordering something to go. Then you didn't ask me had I been here before. You just assumed that I never had been here. In terms of what he didn't say, hey, you been here before? Da, da, da. He just, we do this, I'm like, I gave him the menu back. Well, it wasn't a problem him giving me a menu. He should have done that. But his assumption was that this is my first time and I was lost. Not so much love, but for real. And so after I just ordered what I want without looking at the menu, he was like, oh, you know the menu really well. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I come in here a lot.
All right, how long you been working here? He was like, about a month. Well, yeah, I've been coming here since the door cracked.
Yeah.
Yeah. But looking at me, I'm talking about from his perspective, I know he would never have thought that I had such a long-standing relationship with the place, that me and the owners are cool, that I've done events at like all of the nine. You understand? But the question is, man, I don't want to, he could have felt that way about any customer, right? But I don't think that's what it was. People think they can look at somebody and determine their value, right? And it's like we live in a society where, like I was saying this earlier, like if I don't know you, to be somebody, right, then you're nobody. And
because I don't know who you
because I don't know you.
Yeah.
Right? And that go across race. If I don't know you, then you nobody. And I feel like that's a dangerous thing for people to have that mindset. You know what I mean? And I feel that. But to your point though too, I also feel I've met people, man, and people have been very dismissive, or whatever case may be. And I'll see that person again, and then it's like a whole different thing. And I'll be like, oh, they found out.
Yeah.
Yeah, they know what's up now.
Yeah.
It's like night and day. There's no reason to be night and day because we haven't had any further interaction. But like now I have value to you. Now I'm somebody that you feel, dang, oh, I need to know him. Because what does a successful person, quote unquote, or whatever the case may be, like, is that what other successful people in the world is doing? Are people meeting people and like as soon as they meet, they just running their resume down?
I think that's possible.
Yeah, right. That might be right.
I remember. I don't want to get into too many details, but there was an event you and I were at, and there were a number of people that are formative figures in sort of the reentry space.
Yeah.
I remember you having these sort of like collegial conversations with them, and I'm just standing off a bit watching. It's probably like 8 or 9 of y'all, and I could tell out of the 8 or 9 of y'all, you were the only one that wasn't really trying to really project and signify in that regard. And no disrespect to those people. Sure. I think sometimes, again, the layers are there. Us being like DC people, that's just not normally how we operate either.
Very true.
Very true. We're not. I think now starting to get there, but we're not as self-promo as other people from other places. And I think a part of that's because they had to do that where they're from. True. New York, Atlanta, LA, those sort of cities, right? Where you gotta like. Yeah,
that's kind of that's more the culture.
Yeah.
Where they from, but then also like I be thinking about. I know, like for me personally, like I wasn't like I come from a different world or a different culture. Let me say it that way. And in the culture I come from, how I was raised. Being all that, that gets you killed. So like to me, trouble, yeah. I mean, maybe I probably am a little too reserved in that way. Like I'm we've talked about this too. I've tried to become more organized, right? Something I struggle with, and you've helped me on this. Rodney helped me on this. KJ, of course, has helped me a lot on this. But I'm definitely a better networker than I was 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like. And I'm trying to get better at like forging new relationships, cultivating them, and so on and so forth. But some of it is of just like the posturing is just that ain't gonna never be. I can't do that's so disingenuous to like who I am as a man. And then like again though, and I'm coming from the premise like I don't engage. Forget like me. I'm on the other side of like meeting people too, right? So I don't like disregard people. Like, oh, nah, I don't care who this is. You know what I mean? Like I try my best. We all got a lot going, but I try my best to like meet people and engage people. I'm not worried about like, yo, are you important or whatever? You know what I'm saying? Because like, how do you even? What's the metrics on important?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I ain't saying, oh, if you ain't on my level, then I ain't talking to you. You know what I'm saying? Like I have become a little bit more like, yo. Be concise, like what's up? Like, tell me what's going. Like, don't be talking all around in circles. Like, talk. But other than that, yeah, I'm just hollering at people. I'm trying to get to know people. I'm trying to see people. I see people's humanity. You know what I'm saying? I'm not like, yo, this dude or this woman, she ain't on nothing. She ain't on my level. I'm a big dog. Nah, I'm never gonna be like that, man.
So going back a bit to what we talked about earlier with respect to people getting a glimpse at other people, right? Given the fact that we live in a major city, given the fact that in this urban environment, a lot of traffic, a lot of people moving around, a lot of opportunity for people to be victimized and to be taken advantage of physically, psychologically, whatever it may be, right? Sure. And a lot of times, like the assailant is typically our profile, like black men, right? What do you say to people that may say, listen, I gotta kind of look at you a certain way because the kind of person who's typically committing those things look like you, right? So you walk in this restaurant, you order a drink, but the guy who took a drink and left and didn't pay look like you.
Yeah, I think there is. I can hear that, right? I can hear that. You know, but I live here. I'm in the same. I'm not different though, right? So like, if I could continue to be objective when I see people, then you can too. And I'm sure I've been through more than what you've been through, right? As it relates to that kind of thing. I think because it becomes dangerous when that's why it's dangerous to do the opposite. And really and truly, you know, that perspective doesn't necessarily make you safer. You know, all it does is, you know, ostracize and insult good people. You know what I mean? I think that's especially from a business perspective, like you don't want to, you know, do that because again, you're gonna profile, if you will, the wrong person. Like even the situation that I discussed. I mean, if I had not had such positive engagement there, if I had not had such positive engagement in the past with this particular restaurant, I could have shared that interaction, and that could have been really bad for me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I do definitely acknowledge that, like, you know, unfortunately, you know, when we look at, you know, sort of people that are, I guess the term that society would use, perpetrators of a lot of this stuff, you know, yeah, they gonna be African American probably in this town. You know what I'm saying? But also the people that's coming in here spending money, African American. You see what I'm saying? So it's not just one profile about what a black man do. When you look at who's spending money in all these spots, it's us. Even in the, you know what I mean? Like even it's interesting too. Some of these spots even open up, not really. They do everything in their power to they try to price us out. They try to dress code us out. But you ever see when some of these places start to like business slow up? Next thing you know, they got a go-go band in the joint. Because black people in this town keep doors open. And we spend money. A lot of the money maybe for some people, you might can't do your market research and they may not, it ain't showing up in the taxes, but
the door charge is showing up.
And that money going in. You been in Philippe Child?
I haven't, but I heard about.
That don't be looking
Somebody
like
said they turned
Fridays at GW.
I was about to say I saw a couple of memes saying that Philippe Child and turned to Jaspers.
Of the Jaspers, man. I'm telling you.
Because we coming in there.
We in there. That's what we do though. Every one night you spoke about, and I'm gonna make this quick, but you spoke about, right, like you know, it's a transient place, right? Most move to place in America probably last, 5, 6, 7 years, whatever, right? Yeah. Man, listen, I was in Philippe Child, and I just was looking at, like, the other patrons, and I could just, there's non-black patrons, and I could just, like, I was, like, at the bar, so I was seeing, like, when they were walking in. Yeah, they ain't expect to see that. When they went to Philippe in New York City, they don't see, and I ain't saying ain't no black people in there, right? That's not what I'm saying. But they ain't expect to see that many black people.
Yeah, we a different kind here too.
That's my point.
We a different kind.
That's exactly what I was getting at. It ain't no other ones like us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that also takes people a minute to adjust, even other black people.
Yeah.
You feel me?
We and I don't mean this in a bad way, but we untamed. You can't really keep us out of certain spots. We coming in there.
I think that because there's never been a place here that's off limits to us.
Yeah.
That's the difference between Washington, D.C. You feel what I'm saying? Like every place, if it's here, it's for us. We can go. Yeah. And you got black people doing well here, right? So yeah, we can whatever your price point is, it can happen. So it's like all of that stuff is sort of in the pot that I think influences some of what we see. But it's like some people sort of like just real biased You know what I mean? I think as a country, we gotta grapple with that though, because our not just us as men, but like our children, little black boys and girls, like and people try not to like people. It's not race baiting and none of that. It's the truth in this country. You starting out trying to disprove a myth about you. You know what I'm saying? And then unfortunately, sometimes people run into people that compound some of the stereotypes.
Yeah, I was gonna get into that a little bit because I remember like being a kid and like my earlier restaurant experiences, like being with my mom and dad and family, in particular out of town, right? We go out of town and we at a destination like some sort of vacation, or in my parents' hometown, we had a restaurant.
Right.
Let's just say hypothetically, we are one of 2 or 3 black families in the entire establishment, right? Or we are the only black family, right? And then a second black family comes in and like, it's sort of like a little conversation at our table. Like, okay, we in here now, right?
Yeah.
But now it's almost like you feel like their decorum is a reflection on us.
Yeah.
Right? For better or for worse. And I remember being a kid and it was kind of a joke, but to some degree you grow up and then you on the train and other kids are acting up and maybe you aren't. Now you a young adult, other young adults are acting up, maybe you aren't, right? And then you kind of feel like you wear that responsibility on your shoulders or on your arms, right? And I just wonder, have we taken on so much of that also weighs in on how we feel? Us, you and I in particular.
Probably.
Yeah.
Nah, I mean, I think that I remember the first article I ever read on white privilege, right? I was in UDC. I think that I never forget, it was like I think her name was like Karen Brockton or something like that, who wrote the thing I read. But anyway, the number one thing that this is back in like 2000. People weren't even talking about white privilege, of course, like they talk about it now. But number one thing she said was, she had like a list, and it was like that what you do is a representation of you, and at most your family.
If you're white.
Uh-huh. If you black, you represent every other black person in the views of society. You really don't, but that's how you're seen. To your point, so if you do something, it ain't Silas Grant did it. It's black men do it. You understand what I'm saying?
I wish it
negatively anyway.
Yeah, I was gonna say I wish it played out on the positive side as much. I don't think it does.
Yeah. It don't.
It don't. Yeah.
It don't.
Yeah.
But and I think it doesn't because it's so much negativity being spewed about. They don't even share the positivity enough, right? Because if they did, right, you should be a household name.
All right.
If that's what
All right. So that is also, I think, with black people in particular, the idea of being a household name and how some of the opportunities that you might miss out on because you haven't purposely gone out to be a household name, right? You do the work, you get the results. You're not trying to be a celebrity. I'm talking about like you in particular, right? Like the work that you've done. You and I have talked about award shows, doing community service categories and not airing it on television. Yeah. You get awarded off air, or they give you like a 10-second drop to be able to say something versus the full time that other awardees.
Then let an actor come and talk about the things that you do.
Yeah. It's like you have to also be a household name, because I think, the work that you've done is comparable to an athlete or an actor or a politician or a faith-based leader. But those areas have been carved out where we've seen a prototype of what a celebrity is in those spaces, right? You've done celebrity level things without acting like a celebrity, and then also not getting the proper due that you should as a result. And I just wonder, like, again, going back to what we said, do you have to posture in order to get that common respect?
Yeah, and I think that, I mean, I love the way you just framed that. Get that common respect, right? It's not like, you know, we don't need no validation, but like, you know, like you would have, like it's something like CBC coming up. I haven't gotten invited, you know, and or even not just invited, but like based on what the subject matter of a lot of some of them panels gonna be, I should be a featured person based on my work, what I've done, what I've accomplished, right? I think part of it too, you know, some of our work, right, has been really, really, really solely focused on people that really are invisible to the people that may be coordinate a lot of this stuff. Even though they will project that those people are the people that they really care about, but they ain't in touch with those people. They not, you know what I mean? But I do feel like the respect of particular things that happen here in the city that I live in, serve in, you know, that how do you, and once upon a time though, I used to write it off as like, oh, well, they just don't know me, right? And before it was like that, but like now it's not like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you know me, you know me. You know what I'm saying? So I have to, you know, I'm not a cynic, but it's like you definitely aware, right? You definitely aware. Like how when you talking about who should come and talk on reentry, criminal justice reform, violence intervention, activism, right? Right, and then my friends, right, or people that I'm cool with, people that I know, they get invited. And like again, we ain't talking about running the resume, but like for real.
Yeah. So,
like for real, I put it up against far as results and outcomes and, you know, helping people. Like, y'all put that up against whomever.
So I want to flip it a little bit. I'm going to tell a quick story and then I'm going to follow up with a scenario. So I remember I was at Jasper's, right, funny enough, years ago, like probably the original Jasper's in Greenbelt, I think. Me and a couple of friends of mine, jeans, North Face, Nike boots, it's that time, right? The four of us sit down at the table and this black guy, probably younger than us, we like 23, 24 tops. He probably about 19 working as a waiter. He walks up to us, it's packed in there, and we finally get a seat. And he like, man, yeah, so what y'all niggas want? Right? This is literally what he said. And, you know, we regular guys from the city, like it ain't really no thing, but we were kind of taken aback by that. Like, wait a minute, like you're talking to us crazy, right? Now, granted, we might have had the same conversation on the street, it wouldn't have been a problem, but there's a certain decorum you have when you're in this environment, right? There's a code switch that has to happen, right? And so we were so startled that we didn't even order right then. We told him to give us a couple of minutes because we really were startled when he said that. I had never had a waiter say that to me, right?
He thought he was sounding sweet.
Yeah, right? He thought he was sounding sweet. And I wonder too, like when we walk into these spaces, we being you and I, or anybody, right, that fits our profile, for the person on the other side of it, if they come from the same environment, do they feel like they're compromising themselves by code switching, by giving you the respect that somebody else should or would give you? Like I wonder about that. I think about that interaction 20 years later.
I mean, I love if by seeing us, you feel more comfortable, I still feel like there's still a level of standard professionalism you should always exude. So, because if Joe Blow white man come in here and you're gonna put on your professional face and greet him in a certain way, right? At least extend that to us as well. Now, as you get into it, and you know, you rely, you know what I'm saying, and you want to say, man, listen, man, I'm so glad to see y'all here. Can I do it? You know. That's cool, but don't automatically go
off the top.
Yeah,
I would have been cool. I would have been cool with the nigga thing if it had been about the fifth interaction.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying.
He go with cheesecake, y'all. Y'all some good niggas.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Glad y'all niggas came through. Yeah. I'm okay home. You know, whatever. But don't. Cause real again. My grandmother used to always say, treat people how you want to be treated. And even in the service and work we do, you know, it's like when somebody come and we giving turkeys away or whatever it may be. When we support our neighbors through those events, we ain't like, oh man, I'm gonna take this shit, you know.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? We still
still
happy to hope you enjoy. Here you go. You need anything? You know what I'm saying? Because I would want somebody. I ain't gay, and sometimes these people I know all that. I'm
the level of grace,
facts,
yeah,
class, tact. So I don't want you. We should never feel like it's okay to engage. Matter of fact, give us the best service.
Yeah, let me take care of y'all.
How about that?
Yeah.
And that's what we don't do to each other. I'm going to go above and beyond, because especially if it's in places where you may not see us as much, right? But again, I think that does speak back to sort of, again, man, this sort of self-hatred and what's projected out there about us. So even with us, we can really, really feel like a lower standard is okay, you know, and that's unfortunate, you know what I'm saying? And that's why we gotta hold people accountable though for that. Like, I want you gonna treat me, you gonna see me. You might not saw me initially, but before I roll, you gonna see me. And my hope is that the next time, you know, somebody, not me, but anybody that looks like me, when you run into them, that you won't make that same mistake. And I feel like I've been playing that role my whole life. I've been playing that role with police. You know what I'm saying? I've been playing that role in every place that I've worked. You understand what I'm saying? Because I've always identified so much with an aesthetic that they felt like represented negativity. You know?
And you had to stand in the gap.
You feel me? My whole life been like that.
So, all right, we always like talk about the challenges, and I like to also figure out if we can offer solutions. I hear this common theme in so many Black circles about, in particular, Black customer service. Do you think there's a possibility?
Like when it's a Black business?
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
Or when it's
just a Black
person, right? Serving another Black person.
Got you.
Do you think that there's an opportunity or space or platform where we can begin pushing not only the message, but better techniques for that? Like, could it be CBC? Could it be an NAACP sponsored event about hospitality, how we should serve each other? Like, is there a solution for that?
I think it is. I think dispelling the myths about who we are. And also, back to the white privilege thing, if you have a bad encounter, that's just like, for one, to your point earlier, though, about when I was saying about, like, positive images, you were saying, you know, that you wish it worked better on the positive end. I've been to places, say Manifest, for instance, Black and Forth, MLK Deli, right? Just to name a few, right? Where I had superior customer service. You know what I mean? But does that resonate with people when you have the good experience as much as when you had a bad?
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, so stop having these one-off experiences and then equating it with the every time I get Black customers. Or I've been in other establishments or like other white establishments, but it's been Black hostesses or hosts or bartenders or waiters, servers. That's been amazing, right? Been incredible. So I try to hold on to that. So I think for people, we have to again give ourselves a little grace, extend grace, but then give grace, like, right? So everything, but understand that, like, we're not one of us don't represent all of us, and stop buying into that trope. I think that's where it starts. As it relates to hospitality training, I'm gonna say this too. I'm gonna go on. We talked about DC, Black people from DC being a bit different, right? Than other Black people, or whatever, right? But I think one of the things that also creates, I ain't gonna say inability, but it makes it tougher for us to, like, serve appropriately.
Yeah. We don't be following rules.
Crazy?
We don't get in line. We don't do none of that.
And we don't. It's like it's something being taken away from us for me to serve you for real.
That's what I was getting at earlier when I was saying, like, do we feel like as a servant in an instance that's causing us to compromise who we are by serving you. That's what I was talking about.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think so. I think, and that way, I hope I ain't sounding crazy, but we ain't sounding crazy. But I think DC. Like, okay, I'm gonna give you an example. One time, we went to New Orleans, right? We got back. We went out like the same day we got back. And Jess and I was talking about like the young black dudes in New Orleans, like as a servers. You know what I'm saying? Like, we was even saying it when we was there, like, yo, dude, youngers in DC will never do that. So when we got here, I forgot where we went. I forgot what we said, but we was like, see, it's just hard. It's just hard for us to get in that pocket that you need to be, right? To just like really be but to see hospitality as a profession and not as just something that I'm doing until I can do what I want to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and also I think back to what I've heard Kurt Bones say a couple of times on his platform, that when he sees a guy in particular doing service, whether it's bagging groceries at Giant, whatever, like, talk to him, encourage him, maybe even give him a tip in an environment where they're not used to getting tips,
Facts.
right?
Yeah, I heard Bones
he said
say
that like 2 or 3 times, and I really appreciate him saying that, and it's made me get closer to doing something like that now when I see a guy.
Make a person feel different. A deeper sense of pride about what they're doing. Yeah, that's the point I really did, and that's profound.
And shorty, I see you. Yes. You could easily be out here jacking, shooting.
Facts.
You might not be able to get the shoes as fast as they can, but stick in there, and here's my way of helping you stick in there.
Yep.
So
that he and so dang, okay, what did I do? To make that man do that, let me step to every customer like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or let me at least step my game up, because it's like, if they understood, and if our young people really understood that this is a major hospitality place in the world. Our tourism industry is great. Like, you can really get, it's lucrative if you could like master the art of serving others. It's a real serious money play in that. If you can get past the sort of like
serving all others, all of the others, right?
And at a certain level, right? And it's upward mobility, right? In that, you can start off as a busser or a server to a host to a general manager.
I mean, you look at a guy like Thomas Penny.
Look at Thomas Penny.
Yeah,
man.
It's a very good example. 18 years old.
He's the example.
He probably should have been sitting here talking to us.
Yeah. We got to get Tom in. But but like doing that, right, to becoming an owner, it was we were at the Rammies. Shout out to Sean Towns.
Yes, indeed.
We were at the Rammies. It was the guy who owned Tiki on 18th. They got like Best Bar. He's not a black guy, he's a Filipino guy, but the point.
I think I saw when he got his award. Yeah.
Right. So, but he like 3 of his former bosses, people that he worked for, were like in the audience.
I saw that.
That's one of those beautiful things for
him.
He
shouted them out.
Yeah. And he talked, I worked for you for 3 years, I worked for you for 5 years, I worked for you for whatever, right? And his journey was probably like 15, 16 years. But now he's not only an owner, but he got the best bar in the city. But in the hospitality industry, it's that kind of possibility in DC, right? Because this is whether you're on the culinary side, whether you're on the hotel side, you know what I'm saying? It's so much opportunity. But at the cusp of that, at the foundation of that though, is your ability to provide adequate customer service. You know what I mean? And part of that is gonna be able to withstand disrespect, being able to, the customer's always right, that kind of thing. But those that are able to sort of, I think, withstand that, is they grow in it. And I don't think it's enough of us, our young people, taking advantage of that lane is what I'm getting at. Yeah. So back to your original question though about like the type of solution, I think we can, if we root the solutions in us being able to get the solutions that we want, like as individuals, like people want careers, people want, entrepreneurship opportunities. Part of the solution is you engage each customer and treat them the way you want to be treated. don't see people that look like you as a threat. Don't see anybody just as a threat. But the easy part on that is people don't see other people as a threat.
Right.
And that's the reason why we have people see us as a threat, including us.
Yeah. I think the biggest sort of challenge or goal for someone in hospitality should be to learn people.
Yeah.
That should be the goal. I want to learn this person at the bar. I want to learn them for the sake of putting some sort of feather in my cap from this interaction that I can take with me on the next interaction.
Bro, listen, I remember, and it's why, like when KJ was first doing Manifest, or the idea of Manifest, he showed me a rendering of like the build out, but he also had this thing where he had like this profile page, right? And maybe it was like 5 profiles.
Like avatars of people.
Yeah.
I got you. Yeah.
Exactly. So you might have the person that would come to Manifest every day just for a cup of coffee. The person that would become a member and get a haircut once a week. The person who came to the speakeasy, right? The person who came to get a haircut but also was an influencer and like to buy fly shit, right? And it was like some, you know what I mean? Just, it was like, dang. And obviously there are multiple profiles, but the thing is, he was already thinking about, like, you talk about learning people, right? So like, okay, as I engage, I'll become equipped to when somebody that fits that person's profile. I ain't talking, it had nothing to do with race. You know what I'm saying? It's just like what this person likes. Lifestyle, right? And so how can I better, if I know more about what a person that's in that lifestyle likes, what kind of drinks they want, what kind of, I'm better prepared to serve them, to give them the type of service that's gonna make them do what?
Come back. And feel great about coming back.
And tell somebody else you should come. But that was the first time I saw, like, I was like, dang, are you thinking this? Y'all thinking this that far out? You know, it was inspiring to me. And then now when I go in there, right? I'm a member, right?
Yeah, you on the profile.
But when I go in there, I'm looking at, I'm like, that's the profile of that person. That's the you understand what I'm saying?
And it's a living document because it can change.
Yeah. And it or grow or just grow, right?
Yeah.
And I think it has. Like if we talking specifically about Manifest, I think it is. I think it has grown. I think it's grown in the sense of, you know, the type of customer, you know, is some other profiles in there. The person that now that just when they fly into DC, that's become a destination.
Yeah.
So I just, you know, so what is the experience like for that person who's just dropping in that one time? You know? So but to understand that from a perspective of a young black man from here, right? That's currently considering going to DC Central Kitchen, right? Can he believe that one day he could have the food truck? Can he become J.R. Robinson and have restaurant? You know what I mean? But that's my hope. And that on the other end of that when we see those young people, that we not only can they see that for themselves, but that, and I think the only way they're gonna see that for themselves is if we see that in them.
Yeah.
You feel me? And when I see them, that I'm not worried about, you know, because if he gonna carjack me, he gonna carjack me. I think people gotta really understand that. Like if he carjacked me, and I read something long ago that said people do what we expect.
Yeah, like you're never quite surprised.
Good or bad.
Yeah.
People do what you expect. And I think when we talk about how our young people, some of our young people, not all, some of our young people are showing up in community, part of that has a lot to do with that society expects that from them.
So I have to live up to the expectation.
Come on, man, going to.
And much beyond, and I'm thinking this out as I talk, so forgive me if it comes out the wrong way, but much before that carjack, in this instance, right, for example, carjacking, long before you and I encountered in that way, me or someone like me, we've been profiling you the whole time,
100%.
so you might as well carjack me.
There you go.
You understand what I'm saying?
I do. That's it.
I expected that because
that's it.
my perception of you long before you jacked me led you to jack me.
Anybody that fits your profile.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. Until we start to see black men and women, or boys and girls, in a way in which we expect that a little girl turns into Angel Gregorio.
Yeah.
A little boy turns into Keyway Hughes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The little boy turns into Silas Grant. Till we expect that from our babies. Well, you know what I mean? No matter what they, we gotta expect. We gotta. That's it. And I think from a solution standpoint, that's what we have to do in our community, man. Yeah. We've normalized so much of this that, you know, to the point where young people starting to see, because they don't see value in other things. We don't place value on it. You know what I mean? And back to the positivity, the household name type of thing. We don't hold the people. We talk about, we want somebody. We want our, especially the black men in our community, right? Because black women be doing anything. But we want black men to be married, raise their children, to be community involved, to be God-fearing, to be educated, right? To be successful in their profession. You know, we say that, but do we hold them men up? We act like men ain't doing that, men doing that. Yeah. But if he do that, but he work at DPW, if he do that, he work at the Giant. You know, if he do that, you know, he work at Metro. We hold him up? We should though. Yeah. We should.
Not until they die.
Yeah, you know, he was a good man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We should celebrate those men. You know what I'm saying? We should celebrate, and we wonder why. If we talk about the youngins, it's not the only thing they want to be is a rapper. It's not the only thing they want to be, but why? What you celebrate?
People do what you expect. Come on, that's profound.
It's the truth. It's the truth. So we gotta expect greatness, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, for real. We gotta, and you know, see, you think about what we do. Both of us have the wonderful opportunity to be a part of the chain of humanity that engages the young men at the Pathways program. And you know, you watch them in that 9 weeks of people changing the expectation for their lives. That's really what happens there more than anything else.
That's a very good description.
You know what I'm saying? We tell them, we expect something. We expect greatness. We don't expect you to spend. We don't expect you to hustle. We expect you to, man, do something to help us to change this community. Yeah. And in that 9 weeks, you see that just they start looking different in the eyes, you know? And that's only 9 weeks. Imagine if everywhere we turn, young men feel like, dang. Because what comes with that expectation of greatness is a standard. And when you performing under beneath that standard, we're going to hold you accountable to that. Hey, what you doing? Yeah. When we see young people performing under the standard now, we expect it. So
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that becomes sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy. So yeah, they do carjack you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Well, they do rob you. Well, they are going to spend. You know what I mean? Because, again, we've already decided that that's what they was going to do anyway. You know, I haven't found myself, and it ain't funny, but, like, I've done this in the past. Might be a little kid, 5 years old, playing. Little boy, playground, around the way. Yeah, Shorty going to
Going to the feds. I knew you was going to say that. Shorty going to the feds.
And I'm ashamed, God forgive me. And mainly we be joking, but that is kind of like in your subconscious, right?
I knew you was getting ready to say that.
Yeah. You didn't hear me say, Shorty going to the feds. And the whole time, you know, we going to do everything we can to help him circumvent that. But it's like a saying that we, you know what I mean? And guess what? I know they said that about me too.
Yeah, but
you know what I'm saying? We really are living examples that you can. I know they said that about me, man. Shorty, he definitely going. Knew I was going. Surprise, surprise, though.
Yeah,
right?
016 007.
Definitely. Ain't no secret. Nah, he still got it. They still got my number waiting on me. I know they can't wait. But but that's the thing. We must not do that, you know. But it's some people saying that for real and mean it and working to ensure that kind of
and it benefits them to do that. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So like for us, and we bump into that every day though, so that like that on a bigger level, that I expect that black man, you up to no good, that you don't belong here. Even if you came here, maybe you scamming, maybe your card ain't your card. Yeah. Like it just go.
CID, all that.
CID, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you done lost some weight too. They might not think it's you on that.
Yeah, man. I gotta get back. I got some more to lose, man. I gotta get back. But that's real. I know your jump. You probably went and took a new picture.
Yeah, I had to get a new jump. Yeah. I had to get a new jump, man.
Joe just ain't even make sense. They was double toe hole.
Yeah.
You did.
For the aesthetic.
For the aesthetic. You know what though? That's a whole nother story, but that's real. You know, I mean, looking healthy and but that's why we got it. Why we got it?
You know what though? I don't even want to go into a whole nother tangent. But to that point too though, like I noticed with other people, just me, I know I wear the hokers and all that. That starts other conversations too. Yeah. Just certain items you wear that.
But you know what?
Yeah.
You know what, bro? But see, because guess what? I said, people say, "Oh, I got some." Oh, shit. That's what I really meant that about the buying of a certain drink.
Right.
I was using this, but it's that. Yeah. So because now I'm gonna create a like you like, oh,
you know something. Yeah.
He know something. Oh, he got them more. I have those. Yeah, what he doing with them?
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
I've had people stop me that don't look like us that they never would have stopped me and talked to me.
You know what's interesting too? Even let me say it this way. Okay. The conversation about New Balance and all that, right? There's been a lot going on with that. But a lot of people that's been talking about it, even if their generation might be the generation that really helped it proliferate, they weren't the generation who started it. They were modeling the generation before them. And a lot of the generation before them, some of that, even where they went to purchase that stuff at, Georgetown, Rockin' and Jog, places like that, GT Players, Princess originally, whatever. But a lot of those places were places that were frequented by conservative white businessmen. And a lot of those guys were even the purchasing of European cars, right? Early 80s, late 70s, early 80s. That was an assimilation move.
I got you.
Right? To say that we belong, to me to blend in, the same scenario. So I'm gonna buy these New Balance. So like the same thing them hokers do.
Yeah, I see. I see.
You see what I mean? But obviously we gonna put our own whip on it. But that's really fundamentally where that came from.
Yeah, I get it.
Right? And for back then where it wasn't cameras everywhere, where the FBI or whomever, right, had to tell you and all, that you would look like you fit in.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we walk past them guys. Oh, no, they can't be the bad guys.
Yeah.
You feel?
And there was a the word just escaped me. There was sort of like a not a fascination, but a desire to ascend to what the doctors and lawyers look like.
And some people say, well, but I'm not talking about just like proximity to whiteness, right? But it was more about seeing my humanity. Because if I'm invisible, right? If I come from a community that's desolate, that's invisible, and when I go into other establishments, right, which again were other more like the Howard University crowd, you know what I'm saying, the DC government job crowd. If I'm a street guy, when I go in Market Inn or Chrisfield's or Houston's, right? I want to fit the part, especially when I'm getting a couple of dollars, I want to fit the part, you know what I mean? So that you can see past me being a young guy from the street.
Yeah.
So that hasn't changed.
And that's been going on for generations.
It's been going on for generations. But what we're saying in this episode, what we've been talking about, even when you become something other than, society still only sees you as that.
Yeah.
And we got to fight against that every day, bro.
Yeah. Well, that's how we gonna land the plane today. The fight is still going on to do all we can to, and I think you and I have done this on purpose. Like we go into places that our people don't go into to kind of break the ice and break the barriers. Like we can go here.
Question.
And we're gonna continue doing that. And I think there was some really good points that were brought up in this discussion. For those that are watching, leave a comment on the YouTube page what you think about it.
Yeah, sure.
Leave a comment on our pages on social media. What do you think about it? Let us know. We would love to hear from you. And we thank you guys for always listening and watching. Tony, as always, 100%. Thank you for flying this plane with me.
You already know.
Heart of the city.
Until it crash. Yeah.
That's it. We'll see y'all in the next one.
Peace and love.
Peace.